of night echoing down dark corridors of hate, and a strange echo that answers back, of these now I speak. The story was told, but you weren't awake. There is left no more a path to take, but since we are still here, the story did not end. Night is fast setting in your eyes. We had some worlds to share, you and I, but now we must hide it underneath darkness, for light is coming. Oh, how cruel these words I must say, now that daylight has dawned upon us. Let us hide this under darkness. The story that I must say is not one that must be seen by eyes that are awake. But why must I say these words at all? I've murmured so many when you weren't awake, and you shared my dreams of shattered glass, of hope gleaming as it faded down the long shadow of a broken street. Maiden of ice, whose eyes shimmer with a glorious glass. The story was told, but you weren't awake. There is left no more a path to take, but that I must repeat the words that you fled in sleep. And the story begins, and the story ends. Night is fast setting upon your eyes. The darkness has crept from the corners of our little room, from outside the infinite sky, and into your eyes invites dreams. Upon a time we once could have shared between us worlds and dawns, and now I'm struggling to retain the consciousness that could still see you. The story was told, but you weren't awake. This story that can never manage to end, because we're both still here. There was a companion of flakes of snow, and the little boy was never sure whether he held that companion in his hand or not. A little too much warmth, and it was gone. Or it might vanish, and little legs would carry the puddle of the corpse away. I don't want to remind you that behind us is a corridor. The door is locked, and I'm not sure what's scary on either side of it. There are some shadows around here, but it may be darker on the other side, and I don't want to open the voice in my chest and start playing that music box, because I don't know what that frightful echo is going to reply back to me from across the other side of the door. So let us walk that other path away from that door and never look back, and I promise I'll say that we're full of sunlight, even if it is the night. So please don't melt in my hand if I grab you, even if you notice there's blood on my hand. There was in that kingdom a black corridor. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. There was in that kingdom a dark road, and the people made it out. No one ever gets out alive. Of scattered ashes. They say these were once living things. The child knight was holding thistles in his hand and trying to remember how to smile. He had been told that it was dangerous to cross the street, so he was walking there straight down the middle. He didn't care what was there. He wanted to remember not to smile. His lips were pulled tight with red lights that were now screeching and loud. He had to keep everything in balance. If he had only walked a little longer down that loud street, he would have forgotten about the heaving lungs and that mourning. There was a bunny that was so innocent it could scream. Everything else tried to pretend everything was normal. The bunny could have devoured that road, but it was so nice that it just waited there by the side of the road. I hope it starts moving again, the boy thought. Don't worry, nothing bad happened to it. The same's not going to happen to you. How many more things could I see if I kept walking down this road, the boy thought. Wouldn't it be better if I never turned back? There was a lot of whispering. It felt like rain here, if people actually spoke, but they hid their mouths from one another. People were losing their mouths everywhere. Sometimes people ran away from each other by running into the ground and throwing dirt over themselves. Lots and lots of it. That was a good way. No one ever saw them again. They got away from it. The special place with bad air, and the shadow behind me isn't following me. It hasn't caught up to me yet. I'll cover my ears with whispers. Those are magic words, full of past regret. The boy couldn't release his clenched hands, of course, Then he might have a reason to get out of the street. When I grow up, the boy said, I'm going to be able to look at those words when they are going out of mouths. And then I'm going to grow so tall that I'm going to look down at those words as they are laughing up at me from below my feet, and I'll smash them if they don't start leaving me alone. And then I'll grow so tall, high up in the clouds, that I'll be alone. But for now, remarked the child, I think that those words might make the ash beneath my feet come alive. And what is the point of looking down if I have to see faces? So I had better keep walking. That was the incredible thing about a road. It just kept going on. It didn't necessarily have anywhere to lead you, but if you didn't want to stop, it never had a point. So you could just keep walking, and think all the while about all you lost by never getting out of that street. Just don't remember what's behind you. I say, said the skylark, but it was actually the boy saying this. No, just don't put a face on anything. Nothing. Remember it. Don't put on any more faces. I might speak with any more of my faces, and I can't stand coughing at a bunch more of them because they keep on losing their mouths, and am I eating them? I can't stand it. I don't want that garbage. That's what they made me out of, and I can't stand it. There's a place I belong, and where the cold rain won't fall on me, but the windows are shutting like eyes. They are closing in on me, almost like they are walls. People are walls. People aren't allowed to be walls, and they're starting to find crimes in me. Think of the darkness and the things it will say of me now. Just don't look back now. My ribs are starting to stab out of my skin, and my back is getting cold. The boy started to realize that if there were no one to look at him, he could never be a hero. Kill them, and they won't look away either, he said. Just think about all the people that could be fed by the black ash that they had thrown about the streets. You could cover your eyes with it and stop all the memories that leak from them, particularly if you stuffed it into your mouth and into your nose. That was probably the best way to stop the echoes, but it was scary. The who? Remarked the boy. Why don't you answer that? I'm tired of being your face. It is getting to be a disgusting and frankly thankless job. A great long time could go on without me saying nothing. But what is the magic word that will make this end? If it isn't nothing, how does the road creep towards me and I towards it? But what is at the end of that road? Sleep? Is it sleep? Will the circles scattering across the path wake me and get me out of the way, out of the street where ivy creeps? If I wander out into the forest, will I find there more roads? I just can't breathe while there are roads everywhere. Oh, I had forgotten. There are people everywhere. He suddenly felt his chest grow tight as sticks of hay gathered all around him. He could see the gray forms. Maybe they wanted their chance to stand on the road, right in the middle of it. This isn't working very well. Don't any of them have voices? I'll talk to you. Oh, great. Now I just have to find the voice. That was going to be a hard challenge, worthy of a hero's fate, to die in remorse, to find a voice in a crowd of people that had lost their mouths and grown apart. No one's coming for the wedding or the funeral, the boy remarked. Such things didn't exist. In a kingdom where a hero wandered, he found that the only structure was a road of ash. I wonder if I will ever find that voice. The boy settled down, realizing that he would never find her.